It was a rainy night when I first stumbled upon the dark web forum. The sound of raindrops tapping against my window created an eerie rhythm that matched the unsettling curiosity bubbling inside me. I had always been fascinated by the concept of time travel. Who hasn't dreamed of visiting the past or peering into the future? But as I delved deeper into the murky waters of the dark web, I realized that some doors are better left closed. I was sitting at my desk, the glow of my computer screen illuminating the dimly lit room. My heart raced as I navigated through layers of anonymity, guided by whispers of others who claimed to have experienced things beyond comprehension. I had heard stories about time travel, but this forum was different. It felt like a gathering place for those who had touched the edges of reality and returned with tales that chilled the bone. After scrolling for what felt like hours, I came across a thread titled "Time Travel: The Risks You Don't Know." Intrigued, I clicked on it. The opening post was written by someone using the handle ChronoWraith. Their words were cryptic yet compelling, detailing their experiences with time travel and the dark consequences that followed. They warned readers about the dangers of meddling with time, emphasizing that every action has a ripple effect, one that could alter not just your own life but countless others. As I read on, a chill ran down my spine. ChronoWraith described how they had once traveled back to witness a historical event, a moment they believed would be harmless. But upon returning, they found their world irrevocably changed. Friends were missing, familiar places had vanished, and a sense of dread hung in the air like a thick fog. "You may think you're just observing," they wrote, "but you're never just a spectator. You become part of the chaos." Suddenly, my eyes widened as I scrolled further down the thread. There, amidst a sea of comments and replies, was a chilling message directed at me. It read, "Beware your name. You are not meant to tamper with time." My heart dropped into my stomach. How did they know my name? I hadn't shared any personal information on this forum. I was merely an observer in this digital abyss. I quickly clicked on ChronoWraith's profile, hoping to find some explanation or context for this unnerving message. But their account had no details, no posts outside of that thread, no friends or followers, just an empty shell cloaked in mystery. It felt like they had materialized out of thin air to deliver a warning meant only for me. Panic set in as I glanced around my room, half expecting someone or something to emerge from the shadows. My rational mind tried to dismiss it as a coincidence, or perhaps an elaborate prank by another user. Yet deep down, an unsettling feeling gnawed at me. What if it wasn't? What if there was something more sinister at play? Determined to shake off the unease, I decided to log off and call it a night. But as I shut down my computer and turned off the light, sleep eluded me. Every creak of my old house seemed amplified in the silence. Every gust of wind outside felt like an omen whispering warnings into my ear. Hours passed before I finally drifted into a restless sleep filled with fragmented dreams, visions of clocks spinning wildly, and faces from my past flickering in and out like ghosts haunting me for reasons unknown. When morning light broke through my curtains, I awoke with a start. The warning from ChronoWraith echoed in my mind like a haunting melody. You are not meant to tamper with time. Dismissing it as nothing more than an overactive imagination fueled by late-night browsing, I tried to go about my day normally. But then strange things began happening. It started small, a misplaced item here or there, but soon escalated into something far more disturbing. My phone buzzed with notifications from unfamiliar numbers, each one eerily similar. You shouldn't have looked. My social media feeds were flooded with cryptic posts about time travel disasters and warnings about meddling with fate. The final straw came when I received an anonymous package at my doorstep. Inside was an old pocket watch, rusted and worn, ticking away as if it had just been pulled from another era. Attached was a note that simply read, "Time is watching you." I felt trapped in a nightmare that wouldn't end. Each tick of that watch echoed ChronoWraith's warning in my mind, amplifying my anxiety until it became unbearable. Was someone watching me? Had I inadvertently crossed paths with forces beyond comprehension? As fear took hold, I knew I had to return to that forum to confront whatever darkness awaited me there. This segment sets up an intriguing premise while establishing suspense and inviting viewers to continue following your story. Let me know if you need further assistance or additional segments. The pocket watch lay on my desk, its rhythmic ticking a constant reminder of the warning I had received. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was more than just an old trinket. It felt like a sinister artifact, a tether to something beyond my understanding. I picked it up, feeling its cold metal against my skin, and stared at the intricate engravings on its surface. It seemed to pulse with an energy that both fascinated and terrified me. Determined to uncover the truth, I logged back onto the dark web forum. My heart raced as I navigated through layers of encrypted pages, finally landing on the thread where Chronowraith had posted their ominous warning. The thread was still active, filled with comments from users discussing their own experiences with time travel and the consequences that followed. I scrolled through the posts, searching for any mention of my name or references to my situation. As I read, a chilling pattern emerged. Many users spoke of strange occurrences following their interactions with time travel discussions. One user shared how they had seen glimpses of alternate realities, flickers of lives they could have lived but never did. Another described waking up in locations they didn't recognize, as if they had been displaced in time. Then I saw a new post from Chronowraith. My pulse quickened as I clicked on it. To those who have received warnings, you are being watched. Time is not just a concept, it is a living entity that reacts to our actions. If you felt its presence, you must tread carefully. There are forces at play that you cannot comprehend. My breath caught in my throat. The message felt directed at me once again, and I couldn't ignore the growing sense of dread that enveloped me. What did they mean by forces at play? Was there really something watching me? As I pondered this, an idea struck me. Perhaps I could use the forum to gather more information about Chronowraith and their experiences. Maybe someone else had encountered them or knew more about their warnings. With renewed determination, I posted a question on the thread: has anyone else received a warning from Chronowraith? What does it mean? I hit submit and waited anxiously for responses. Minutes turned into hours as I refreshed the page repeatedly, each time hoping for some insight or reassurance. Finally, a reply popped up from a user named Timeseeker. I've seen Chronowraith around before. They're not just a regular user, they have knowledge that goes beyond what most can comprehend. If they warned you, it's for a good reason. Trust me, I learned the hard way. Intrigued yet apprehensive, I continued reading Timeseeker's post. I once attempted to travel back to prevent a tragedy in my life, something small but significant. When I returned, everything was different. My family didn't recognize me, and my friends were strangers. It was like I had stepped into a parallel universe where my existence was erased. Be careful what you wish for. Time has its own agenda. A chill ran down my spine as I absorbed their words. This wasn't just idle chatter, these were real experiences with profound implications. If Timeseeker's story was true, then meddling with time could lead to devastating consequences. Just then, another notification appeared on my screen, a direct message from Chronowraith. You shouldn't be here. Leave while you still can. The watch is a key, it can open doors you don't want to enter. My heart raced as panic surged through me. How did they find me? Did they know I was reading their posts? The weight of their warning pressed down on me like an anchor, dragging me into darkness. I hesitated but felt compelled to respond. What do you mean? What doors? What happens if I don't leave? The reply came almost instantly. You'll find out soon enough if you don't heed this warning. Time is not forgiving, it remembers those who trespass against its flow. I stared at the screen in disbelief, feeling trapped in a surreal nightmare where reality blurred with the unknown. My fingers trembled as I typed back, what should I do? There was no response for what felt like an eternity, and just when I thought they had vanished into thin air, another message appeared. You must confront your fears, face what you've awakened by engaging with time travel discussions. Only then can you understand your place in this web of existence. But beware, not all paths lead back home. The cryptic nature of their words left me reeling as confusion mixed with fear clawed at my mind. What fears? What had I awakened? As night fell again, casting shadows across my room, the ticking of the pocket watch grew louder in my ears, a relentless reminder of time's presence and power over me. Against my better judgment, curiosity propelled me forward. Perhaps confronting whatever lay ahead was better than living in fear of the unknown. I decided to take action. I gathered all the information from the forum that I could find about time travel accounts from others who claimed to have traveled through time and returned changed forever. Each story added another layer to my anxiety, but also fueled my determination to understand what was happening. That night, armed with knowledge and dread alike, I sat down with the pocket watch in hand and closed my eyes, focusing on its rhythmic ticking, a heartbeat echoing through time itself. Okay, I whispered into the darkness of my room. Let's see what this is all about. As if responding to my challenge, The room began to shift around me, the air thickening like fog, enveloping everything in sight. The sound of ticking morphed into a cacophony of chimes and echoes until it drowned out all other noise. Suddenly, images flooded my mind, flashes of moments from my past intertwined with faces, both familiar and foreign, memories that felt real yet distant, as if they belonged to someone else entirely. And then came the whispers, soft at first but growing louder until they became an overwhelming chorus chanting warnings and regrets. Don't go back. Don't change anything. But curiosity pushed me forward into this swirling vortex of possibilities and consequences, a place where reality twisted and turned like branches in a storm. And just as quickly as it began, everything went dark. This segment deepens the narrative while maintaining suspense and intrigue as the protagonist grapples with warnings and their own curiosity about time travel. Let me know if you need further assistance or additional segments. When the darkness enveloped me, I felt as though I was suspended in a void, a liminal space where time lost all meaning. It was disorienting, like being caught in a dream where nothing was quite right. I couldn't tell if I was awake or still trapped in a nightmare. The whispers echoed around me, growing louder and more frantic. Don't go back, they cried, their voices overlapping in a chaotic symphony of fear. You can't change what's already been written. Suddenly, the darkness fractured like glass, and I was thrust into a vivid scene, an image from my past. I found myself standing in my childhood home, the familiar scent of old wood and dust filling the air. Everything looked just as I remembered it, down to the faded wallpaper and the creaking floorboards. But something felt off. The colors were too bright, almost unnaturally so, as if I were viewing everything through a filter. I turned to see my younger self sitting at the kitchen table, drawing with crayons while my mother bustled about preparing dinner. A wave of nostalgia washed over me, but it was quickly overshadowed by an overwhelming sense of dread. I watched as my younger self laughed and played, blissfully unaware of the dark path that lay ahead, a path that had led me to this moment. I wanted to reach out, to warn them not to take that fateful step into the world of time travel discussions. But my body wouldn't move. I was trapped as an observer in this memory. Then came the shift again. The scene blurred and morphed until I found myself in another moment from my past. This time it was my high school graduation day. Friends surrounded me, laughter ringing out like music, but beneath it all lay an undercurrent of melancholy. I remembered feeling lost even then, unsure of what direction my life would take. As I stood there watching myself celebrate with friends, a shadow flickered at the edge of my vision. It was Chrono Wraith, an indistinct figure lurking just beyond the light. My heart raced as I tried to call out to them, but no sound escaped my lips. You shouldn't be here, they shouted suddenly, their voice cutting through the haze like a knife. This is not your time. Before I could react, everything shattered again, and I was thrown into yet another memory, a moment that felt darker and more foreboding than before. I stood outside a dilapidated building that looked familiar yet foreign, a place I had never intended to revisit. The air was thick with tension as shadows danced across the walls. It was an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town, the site of a tragic event that had haunted me for years. My friends and I had come here once for a thrill-seeking adventure, but ended up running for our lives when things went horribly wrong. I watched as younger versions of myself and my friends entered the building, laughter echoing off the walls before it turned into screams. The memory played out like a horror film, flashing lights from our phones illuminating our terrified faces as we stumbled through dark corridors filled with debris. Get out. Get out, I screamed silently at them, desperate to change their fate. But they couldn't hear me. They were trapped in their own reality. Suddenly, everything went dark again, this time deeper than before, as if the very essence of time itself had swallowed me whole. The whispers returned, more insistent than ever. You can't change what's already been written. You must accept your fate. I felt myself being pulled away from those memories and thrust back into that void, the swirling darkness pressing against me like a heavy blanket. Panic surged within me. This wasn't just about observing anymore. It felt like I was being judged by time itself. What do you want from me? I shouted into the abyss, my voice swallowed by silence. To understand, you must confront your choices. Face what you've awakened. A voice echoed back, deep and resonant like thunder rumbling in the distance. And then it happened. The ground beneath me shifted violently, as if reality itself were fracturing apart. Suddenly, images exploded around me, flickering scenes from countless lives intertwined with mine, moments of joy and sorrow, choices made and paths taken, all converging into one chaotic tapestry. I saw faces, some familiar, others strangers, all connected by threads of fate that wove through time like an intricate web. Each thread pulsed with energy, each choice resonated with consequences that rippled outward into infinity. You are part of this web, but you must choose your path wisely, or risk losing everything you hold dear, the voice warned again. With that warning echoing in my mind, everything snapped back into focus. I found myself back in my room, my heart racing as if I had just run a marathon. The pocket watch lay on my desk where I had left it, but now its ticking seemed louder than ever, a relentless reminder of how close I had come to losing myself in those memories. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself as reality settled around me once more. But something had changed. An unsettling awareness lingered in the air, a sense that time itself was watching me closely now. Determined to regain control over my life, and perhaps even prevent any further disruptions, I decided to reach out to Time Seeker again through the forum. If anyone could help me navigate this chaos, it would be someone who had faced similar experiences. I typed furiously, "Time Seeker, are you there? I need your help. Something has happened. I've seen things, memories, warnings." The response came quickly, "I'm here. What did you see? You need to be careful once you open those doors. They may not close again." I hesitated for a moment before sharing everything: the warnings from Chrono Wraith, the visions of my past that felt like both blessings and curses, and how they all seemed intertwined with this pocket watch that now felt like a ticking time bomb on my desk. Time Seeker replied almost immediately, "What you've experienced is not uncommon among those who delve too deeply into time travel discussions. You've awakened something that wants to keep you trapped in those moments forever. You must find a way to sever that connection before it consumes you entirely." A wave of anxiety washed over me as their words sunk in. What did they mean by severing the connection? How could I break free from something so intangible yet so powerful? How do I do that? "Please help," I typed back desperately. "You need to confront your past head-on, but not just observe it. You must reclaim your agency over those moments. Find closure for what haunts you before it becomes your prison. Only then can you escape its grasp." Their message resonated within me like a beacon of hope amidst despair. Perhaps confronting those memories wasn't just about witnessing them, it was about reclaiming control over my own narrative, a chance to rewrite parts of my story that had long haunted me. With newfound determination coursing through me, I took hold of the pocket watch once more. It felt warm against my palm, as if it recognized my resolve. "Okay," I whispered softly to myself while glancing at its intricate face adorned with numbers that seemed to shimmer with possibilities beyond comprehension. "Let's see what we can change." This segment continues to build suspense while deepening the protagonist's journey into confronting their past and understanding their connection to time travel. Let me know if you need further assistance or additional segments. With the pocket watch clutched tightly in my hand, I felt a surge of determination coursing through me. Time was no longer an abstract concept, it had become a tangible force that I needed to confront. I took a deep breath, focusing on the memories that had haunted me for so long, moments I had tried to forget, but which now held the key to my freedom. "Let's do this," I whispered, feeling the weight of my words as I prepared to face my past. I closed my eyes and concentrated on the watch, its rhythmic ticking filling my mind. The air around me thickened, and the familiar sensation of being pulled through time enveloped me once more. This time, however, I was ready. I focused on a specific memory, the day of my high school graduation, a moment that had been bittersweet for me. In an instant, the darkness receded, and I found myself standing in the same gymnasium where I had celebrated that day years ago. The decorations were vibrant, and the sounds of laughter and applause filled the air. My heart raced as I watched my younger self walk across the stage to receive my diploma, beaming with pride. But beneath that joy lay an undercurrent of anxiety, a fear of what came next. As I observed from the sidelines, I could feel the weight of unfulfilled expectations pressing down on me. Friends were celebrating their futures while I felt lost and uncertain about mine. "You can change this," I shouted silently to my younger self. "You don't have to let fear dictate your path." Suddenly, everything around me froze. The laughter halted mid-echo, and time stood still. My younger self paused at the edge of the stage, looking around as if sensing a disturbance in the fabric of reality. "Who's there?" they called out. Confusion etched on their face. I stepped forward, heart pounding in my chest. "It's me. It's you. Well, sort of. Listen to me, you need to embrace what comes next. Don't let fear hold you back." The younger version blinked in disbelief, struggling to comprehend what was happening. "This can't be real. You're not real." "I am real," I insisted. "I'm you from the future. You have a choice. You can choose to pursue your passions instead of letting others dictate your life." As those words hung in the air, something shifted within my younger self. A flicker of recognition sparked in their eyes, a glimmer of hope amidst uncertainty. "But what if I fail? What if I make mistakes?" they asked, vulnerability seeping into their voice. "Mistakes are part of life," I urged passionately. "You'll learn from them, they'll shape who you become. But if you let fear control you now, you'll miss out on everything that makes life worth living." The gymnasium began to tremble, as if it were responding to our conversation, walls vibrating and lights flickering ominously. The echoes of laughter grew distant as time threatened to pull us apart again. "You have to trust yourself," I shouted desperately, reaching out toward my younger self. "Choose courage over fear. Choose your own path." In that moment, something shifted within them, a resolve ignited like a spark catching fire. My younger self squared their shoulders and nodded slowly, determination replacing doubt. Okay, I'll do it," they declared with newfound confidence. As those words left their lips, a wave of energy surged through me, an exhilarating rush that felt like breaking free from chains that had bound me for so long. The gymnasium shimmered with light as time resumed its flow. Laughter returned like a chorus celebrating our victory over fear. Suddenly, everything around us began to dissolve into a cascade of colors, blurring and swirling until it all faded into darkness once more. I found myself standing alone in an endless void again, but this time it felt different. There was no weight pressing down on me. Instead, there was a sense of liberation coursing through my veins. "You did well. But this is only the beginning," a voice echoed through the darkness. It was Chrono Wraith's voice again. "Where are you?" I called out into the void. "What do you want from me?" "To guide you through your journey. You've taken your first step toward reclaiming your agency over time. But there are more memories to confront, more choices that must be made before you can truly break free from its grasp." Before I could respond, another memory surged forth, a moment from years later when I had stood at that abandoned warehouse with friends, filled with reckless abandon yet haunted by what lay ahead. The scene materialized around me once more, the dilapidated building looming ominously against a backdrop of twilight shadows. My friends were there again, laughing and daring each other to enter despite the palpable tension in the air. "Not this one," I whispered as dread washed over me. This was where everything had gone wrong before. But Chrono Wraith's voice echoed again. "You must face this memory head on. Only then can you find closure for what haunts you. You cannot run from your past if you wish to move forward." With no choice but to comply, I stepped into the scene, as if crossing an invisible threshold between worlds. The air grew heavy with nostalgia and regret as memories flooded back, the thrill mixed with fear as we dared each other deeper into that forsaken place. "Remember why we came here?" one friend called out with excitement while pushing open a creaking door leading into darkness. "Yeah," another replied nervously. "Just for fun." I watched helplessly as they ventured further inside, my heart racing as dread pooled in my stomach like lead. This was where everything had spiraled out of control, the moment we had unwittingly unleashed chaos upon ourselves. "Stop," I shouted desperately. But they couldn't hear me. They were trapped in their own reality once more. As they stepped deeper into shadows cast by flickering flashlights illuminating crumbling walls and broken glass scattered across the floor, panic surged within me. I needed them to remember. "Don't go any further," I cried out again with urgency echoing through empty halls. Suddenly one friend turned back toward where I stood, frozen at the threshold, a look of confusion crossing their face as they seemed to sense something amiss beyond their immediate surroundings. "Who are you talking to?" they asked hesitantly, while glancing around nervously at their friends who continued laughing obliviously ahead. "Please," I pleaded desperately, "you don't understand what's waiting for you inside." But just then another friend shouted excitedly, "Come on. We can handle anything in here." And before I could intervene further, they charged ahead, disregarding every warning, echoing through time itself, until all at once darkness enveloped us once more, a crushing weight pulling us deeper into chaos beyond comprehension. This segment heightens tension while showcasing the protagonist's journey through confronting pivotal moments in their past. Let me know if you need further assistance or additional segments. As darkness swallowed me once more, I felt a sense of urgency pressing down like a heavy shroud. The familiar echoes of laughter faded into an unsettling silence, and I found myself standing in the heart of the abandoned warehouse. The air was thick with dust and decay, and the shadows loomed ominously around me. stretching like fingers reaching for something lost. "You have to confront what lies within these walls," Chronowraith's voice echoed through the void. "Face your fears and reclaim your power over this memory." I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what lay ahead. This was the moment that had haunted me for years, the night everything changed, when we had dared to explore this forsaken place. I could still hear the distant sounds of my friends' laughter, but now it felt hollow, like echoes from a time long past. I moved deeper into the warehouse, each step heavy with trepidation. The flickering light from my phone illuminated the path ahead, casting long shadows that danced along the crumbling walls. Memories flooded back, images of us running through the darkened corridors, our voices filled with bravado masking the fear that lurked beneath. "Stay together," I remembered shouting as we ventured further inside, adrenaline coursing through our veins. But soon after, everything had spiraled out of control. Suddenly I heard a noise, a soft rustling coming from one of the nearby rooms. My heart raced as I approached cautiously, every instinct screaming at me to turn back. But I couldn't. I had to confront this moment head on. Pushing open a door that creaked ominously on its hinges, I stepped into a dimly lit room filled with debris and forgotten memories. The air was stale, and the atmosphere felt charged with an energy that made my skin crawl. "Guys," I called out tentatively, hoping to find my friends safe and sound. "Is anyone here?" The silence was deafening until suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, one of my friends, their face twisted in fear as they stumbled backward. "What are you doing here?" they gasped, eyes wide with terror. "I'm here to help," I shouted desperately. "You have to remember what happened. We can't let fear take over." But before they could respond, another voice echoed through the room, a chilling whisper that sent shivers down my spine. "You shouldn't have come back. You're not welcome here." The shadows shifted and coalesced into dark shapes that loomed around us, figures from our past mistakes manifesting in this haunted space. They were reminders of our recklessness, the choices we had made that had led us to this moment. "No, this isn't real," I screamed, trying to hold on to my sanity as panic threatened to engulf me. "You're just echoes of what happened. You don't have power over me anymore." The figures laughed, a haunting sound that reverberated off the walls like a twisted melody. "You think you can escape your past? You can never change what you've done." In that moment, clarity washed over me. I realized that these shadows were manifestations of my guilt and regret, reminders of choices I had made and paths I had taken that led to pain and loss. "I won't let you control me," I shouted defiantly, feeling a surge of strength rising within me. "I accept my past. It doesn't define who I am now." As those words left my lips, the shadows recoiled as if struck by an unseen force. The room brightened slightly as light pierced through the darkness, a flicker of hope igniting within me. "You must confront your fears, embrace them instead of running away. Only then can you reclaim your power." Chronowraith's voice rang out again, urging me onward. With renewed determination, I focused on each shadowy figure, the faces of my friends who had been lost in that moment of chaos years ago. They were not just reminders of failure, they were part of my journey, part of who I had become. "I'm sorry for what happened," I cried out to them. "I didn't protect you, I didn't see how reckless we were being. But I promise to honor your memory by living fully and without fear." As those words echoed through the room, something extraordinary happened. The shadows began to dissipate like mist in sunlight, their forms unraveling until only whispers remained. "We forgive you. But you must forgive yourself," they murmured softly before fading away completely. The weight lifted from my chest as light flooded the room, warmth replacing cold dread, and suddenly everything felt possible again. The warehouse transformed around me. It became less foreboding and more like a sanctuary, a place where memories could coexist without pain. In that moment of clarity, I understood confronting my past didn't mean changing it, it meant accepting it as part of my journey toward healing and growth. As reality began to shift once more around me, I felt myself being pulled back into time, the pocket watch still clutched tightly in my hand, as colors swirled around me like ribbons in a breeze. When everything settled again, I found myself back in my room, safe but forever changed by what had transpired. The ticking of the watch was softer now, a reminder not just of time but also of choices made and lessons learned. I glanced at the screen where Timeseeker's messages still glowed faintly in the dim light. "You faced your past, but there's still more ahead." With newfound resolve coursing through me, I typed back, "I'm ready for whatever comes next." As if in response to my declaration, A new message appeared: good luck on your journey. Remember, time is not just a linear path, it's a tapestry woven with every choice you make. A smile crept across my face as hope blossomed within me. I was no longer just an observer trapped by time, I was an active participant in shaping my own destiny. And with that thought echoing in my mind like a promise whispered by fate itself, I knew that whatever lay ahead would be faced with courage instead of fear, a journey filled with possibilities waiting to unfold before me. This final segment brings resolution to the protagonist's journey while emphasizing themes of acceptance and empowerment. Let me know if you need further assistance or any additional content.